I want to talk about working with vectors inside this online application called photopea. And believe it or not, it's actually easier to get this job done with photopea than it is with Photoshop, because in Photoshop you would need to first open them in Illustrator and then export them from there into Photoshop, etc., etc. This one here opens vector files like bitmap files. So now photopea.com, and you can find this in the resources. Now what I did is I downloaded a whole bunch of social media buttons, icons, because what I was doing is I was working on this here, which is this here. So this is the tutorial for the header and the footer, and I wanted to get my own nice social media icons, because what you have on Wix is not great. I mean, they have a sort of very, very basic thing, but what you can do is you can go to a place like FreePic and then just write social media icons into the search bar, and then you will get a whole bunch of them. So I actually selected all licenses because I have a premium account, but if you just select free, you will still get quite a lot. So here they are, and you will even get some that are like banners and things like that. Very, very nice. You can get a lot of nice stuff, so you really don't have to settle just for this. You can get nicer things. Now let me just continue here. Now the thing is, when I want to change these social links, these icons, I just say replace icon, and then I upload one, and then I find it, but they all have to be exactly the same size. Now this is quite important for what I'm going to show you. So let's go to the other browser, because unfortunately when I try to open photopea in my regular browser, I get the ad blocker, which I can't seem to get rid of. So I'm doing it on another browser. I'm using Firefox for this. So I clicked on the EPS file, and here it is. And what's great about it is that this shows where all of these are in a group, but then we have the background, which we need to close because we want to export these as transparent things, so that they actually end up being transparent on the background. So now let's get back to here. What you do is very simple. You select the crop tool, and then you just kind of like go outside of it like this with the first one, and you may need to press enter a couple of times because you know, you're working in the cloud. So then while you are still with the crop tool, you go to trim. So it's all layers, current layer, trim, and then when you do this, it will trim this exactly to where the pixels end. So we have the shadow on this thing, and we want the shadow as well, so it'll just trim it exactly where that shadow ends. And then all I need to do is press enter, and now I have the icon and I also have the shadow, and then I just go export as PNG, and I don't need to worry about giving it a new name or anything like that. It'll just save it right onto my desktop, and it will put a number behind it. So I already did this a couple of times, so this is now actually number 3. So now what we need to do, because we don't just want Instagram, we want all of them presumably, we need to go back to open, and like I said, it takes a little while for this thing to refresh itself because you are in the cloud, and this obviously they don't have servers that are as powerful as the Wix servers, which is understandable. So again, I'm still on the crop tool. I just pressed escape because it was selecting the whole canvas. Now I'm just going to go to the Facebook one and do it again, and let's just zoom in, and again go to trim so that I get it exactly, and it's exactly the same size. That's quite important. And then again enter, here we are, file, export as PNG, save, don't worry about anything else, and here it is. So we now have that one as well. And then basically all we would be doing is we would be going to the Wix editor, And if I wanted to do that, I don't want to do it right now, but I would just go replace icon, and then it will take me to their own social media nonsense, which I don't want. So I'll just go to the side files, to whatever folder you are uploading things into. I have one here called icons, and I already have this Facebook, so I'm not going to do it again. And then you just replace it, and that's how easy it actually is to find your own icons and to edit them in photopea so that they are all exactly the same size, and so on and so forth, and then just to bring them into Wix and use them instead of their default nonsense, which really isn't very great. So now let's go to the second part, which is a little bit more complicated, but not much. What if it isn't an icon? What if you just want to open another kind of vector file? And remember, we always open the vector files. I think I forgot to mention that in the first part. So, for example, in this social media folder, I also had a JPEG file, and then I had the EPS file. So be careful that you are always selecting the vector file, which would either be encapsulated PostScript or Adobe Illustrator or SVG. And all of those photopea will open without any problems at all. So I have my cats here, and here they are. So first thing, I need to close the background, and I'm also gonna close design by freepik. Now I want to export these one by one, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently from the way that I did it with the icons, because these are irregular, so I can't really crop them in a square like that. But what I also want to make sure is that I have them in a nice big size, so that I can play around with them when I'm in Wix. So let's first of all look at how big these are at 100%, and they're not very big. And here's the great thing. So these are still vectors, they are not bitmap. And that means that I can actually resize them very, very easily, no problem at all. So for example, I can go make them 3 times as large, and I'm just going to press tab, the tab key on my keyboard, to make them, proportionally big. And it says resample, and I'm just going to press OK. And now the same cats are absolutely huge, but they haven't lost any detail at all. Now if this had been bitmap, like a JPEG or a PNG or something like that, then if I had made something 3 times as big, I would have gotten a lot of artifacts here. I would have gotten a lot of nasty crumblings and things like that. So, and I don't have any of that. They are squeaky clean. So I'm still on the crop tool. Now I just want to leave that. I'm just going to go to the select tool, to the move tool, and just go here. So now, before I continue, let me actually show you what I want to do with them, or what I actually already did with them. I prepared a slideshow, an animation, to talk about animated typography, which I'll be putting together over the next few days. So what I have here is I have these cats, but they look quite different from how they look here, as you can see. So I need to get them to look like this. And so it's not just a question of, okay, let's just continue here. Then I have them here as well. So they are now white and they have dark eyes. Things need to happen with them before I can actually make them look like that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on this objects folder here, and then I'm going to go to layer, and I'm going to say merge layers. I'm not going to say flatten image, I'm going to say merge layers. And now all of these have actually become one layer. Now what I'm going to do is I need to get rid of all the color, and then I need to make them white cats. So the first thing I do is I go to image adjustments, hue saturation, and I get rid of all the color like that. Okay, then now if I were to invert them now, it would not really look exactly the way that I want it to look. So see, they'll become all gray, so I don't want that. So let's just go back a step, and incidentally I'm using the history here. So I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to go to levels, and I'm going through the menu. Normally I would just use keyboard shortcuts, so I'm going to make the cats quite a bit darker, but I'm also going to make their eyes and things quite a bit lighter. So I'm really increasing the contrast here, as you can see. Click OK. Now I'm going to go to invert, and now my cats are actually white cats with dark eyes and dark whiskers and things like that. Now I want to actually just get this cat here first. I'm going to do them one by one. I need to so I'm going to go to the polygonal lasso tool. Now normally I use a tablet and a pen, so I wouldn't go to the polygonal lasso tool if it was just me here, but since you probably won't have that, I'm showing it to you with the polygonal lasso tool, so you just go around it. So now I have selected this cat here, right? Now I'm just going to say copy, and then I'm going to say new, and it's going to be, let's see, where's the clipboard? Where's the clipboard? I need to find the clipboard. Sorry, people. Oh, I don't need to do anything. It's already at the clipboard size. So I'm just going to say create, and then I'm going to say paste, and here's the cat. And I'm going to close the background because I just want the cat. I want a transparent cat because it's going to have to become transparent like this when I put it here. But also this cat is not completely opaque, it's a little bit transparent. All of them are, because you can also see the shapes behind them. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to this layer, and I'm going to decrease the opacity to about 80% or so. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be the right value. I may need to do it a couple of times. I may need to go back and forth and go back up to 90 or come back down to 70 or whatever. This is like a sort of trial and error thing, but I'm just going to do it like this now. And then I'm just going to say export as PNG, new project, save, and voila. And then this I can just close because this was just for that one. And then if I want to do the next cat, then we just do the same thing. So it'll be good to show this to you once again. Again, edit, copy, file, new, and it gives me, it opens, it doesn't say clipboard. I mean, I was looking for this just a minute ago, but it doesn't say that, which is quite okay, but the measurements are right. And then edit, paste, close the eye of the background because we just want a transparency. And then again here I'm just going to actually enter this numerically, so I'm just going to go 80 because that's what I did with the other one. And now again export as PNG, save. So it's telling me that I can remove the ads, which I'd love to do. And so here's the first cat, and here's the second cat, and if I look at them, they are actually huge, much bigger than I'm going to need them inside Wix, which is just about this size like this. But it's always easier to scale things down and not lose the quality. When you scale things up, you will always lose the quality, which is why it was important for me to actually go through all of these steps before I got here open, and then I made the image size 3 times as large, then I merged the layers, and then I did all the other stuff, etc, etc, and that's how this thing came together. So that was the second part of the making your own vectors using photopea tutorial, and I will catch you later.